Hi, this is Ferdinand B. Francisco Jr. from Bachelor of Secondary Education, major in Social Studies 1. For today's discussion, we will be tackling about Module 4 in Geography 2. This module is entitled Elements of Weather and Climate. Under our discussion content are the following: various aspects and elements of weather and atmospheric water, how air mass and weather fronts together form mid-latitude cyclones, and describe the three phases a thunderstorm goes through in its life cycle. First is the various aspects and elements of weather and atmospheric moisture. These are humidity, air temperature, wind speed, types of clouds, and precipitation. And the various aspects and elements of atmospheric water. These are the water vapor, liquid water, and ice. Humidity. It is the amount of water vapor in air. Relative humidity is the usual term, which means the percentage of water vapor a certain volume of air is holding relative to the maximum amount it can contain. For example, if the humidity is 50%, then the air contains 50% of the total amount of water it can hold at that temperature. Take note, the capacity of water content per kilogram of air changes depending on the air temperature. Air temperature. It is a measure of how hot or cold the air is. It is the most commonly measured weather parameter. More specifically, air temperature describes the kinetic energy or energy of motion of the gases that make up air. This is important since it affects nearly all other weather parameters, such as the rate of evaporation, relative humidity, wind speed, and direction, and the precipitation and its types. Wind speed. It describes how fast the air is moving past a certain point. It may be an averaged over a given unit of time, such as miles per hour, or an instantaneous speed, which is reported as a peak of wind speed, wind gust, or squall. For example, 35 kilometers per hour. Clouds. It had a great contribution to weather on preventing solar radiation from reaching the ground, absorbing warmth that is re-emitted from the ground, and it is the source of precipitation. As we observe, when there is no clouds in the sky, days can be hot and cloudless nights tend to be cold. There are three groups of clouds: the high level, mid-level, and low level. Okay. Precipitation. It is the gas to liquid process. It is extremely crucial part of the weather. Most common precipitations comes from clouds. Moreover, it can be either liquid or solid. For example, for liquid, we have rain, drizzle, and dew. For solid, we have snow, ice crystals, sleet, hail, and graupel. Various aspects of atmospheric moisture. We have gas, liquid, and solid. Gas or water vapor happens during evaporation. Liquid or liquid water happens during condensation and or precipitation. Solid or ice happens during freezing. How air mass and weather fronts together form mid-latitude cyclones. Air masses have different temperature depending on their location. When they meet, they create fronts. These fronts are warm, cold, occluded, and stationary. When cold air meets and is greater than cold air, it produces a cold front, creating rain showers, snow showers, or thunderstorms. When warm air meets and is greater than cold air, it produces a warm front, creating a rainfall or snowfall. Occluded front is produced usually around a low-pressure system. The process starts when a cold front catches up to a warm front. The cold occlusion happens when the air mass that arrives third is colder than either of the two masses, and that air mass slips beneath them both. The warm occlusion happens when the air mass arrives third is warm, and that rides over the other air mass. When the cold air mass meets warm air mass, however, both air masses do not have the force to lift the warm air mass over the cold air mass. The three phases of a thunderstorm. Thunderstorms undergo three-stage life cycle. First is cumulus stage, second is mature stage, and third is the dissipating stage. The cumulus stage is the stage where very strong updrafts that can exceed 3,000 feet per minute. This is best explained as a hubble of warm rising air that leaves a cloudy trail in its wake. The mature stage is when the rain begins to fall at the surface. When rainfall begins, it is going to drag some air down with it, making a cool air falling to the bottom of the land. This is the key on the beginning of the precipitation. The dissipating stage is characterized mostly by very strong downdrafts. They are so strong that they kind of cancel out any updrafts for any rising air, so that forces of the precipitation to taper off. Since those downdrafts are very strong coming down, it allows no other warm, moist air to rise. That is why it cannot keep feeding the storm, thus wind up the precipitation eventually showing and stopping. So there you have it, guys. I hope you learned something about this video. Goodbye!